There exists a sequence, a pattern carved into the bedrock of human civilization, repeated across 5 centuries, 3 continents, and countless lives destroyed. This pattern has annihilated every global superpower that has ever existed. And in 2025, the United States of America stands at stage 5 of 7. The mathematics don't lie. The precedent is absolute. And what comes next has happened before, exactly 3 times, in exactly the same way. Before we dissect the pattern, understand what we're discussing. This isn't recession. This is the complete dissolution of a superpower, the kind of collapse that erases reserve currencies, fragments nations, and rewrites the global order in months. Imperial collapse begins in silence. No warnings. Just small cracks in an edifice everyone believes is eternal. The currency still works. The military still projects force. But beneath this facade, the foundation is liquefying. Resources hemorrhage into unproductive ventures. The best minds emigrate. Allies pivot toward emerging powers. And the reserve currency starts its long journey home. When those trillions of exported dollars come flooding back, the advantage that made you powerful becomes the weapon that destroys you. This isn't conspiracy. This is documented historical pattern. Spain experienced it. Britain lived it. The Soviet Union collapsed from it. 7 dominoes falling in perfect succession. We've toppled 5. In 1492, Columbus opened a door. Behind it lay the richest deposits of precious metals ever discovered. Within 60 years, Spanish galleons were hauling 400 tons of silver annually. The Spanish real became the world's first global reserve currency. King Philip II ruled from 1556 to 1598, and he made the first fatal decision every dying empire makes. Stage 1. Military overextension. Spanish armies fought everywhere simultaneously. Ottoman Empire, France, Netherlands, England, Philippines, Americas. 4 continents. By 1580, half of all Spanish revenue flowed into military expenditure. Still insufficient. Stage 2. Currency debasement. They debased the currency. Silver coins became 50% copper, then 75%. By 1600, Spanish silver coins contained almost no silver. The face value remained. The real value evaporated. Inflation metastasized. Stage 3. The debt spiral. Spain borrowed from everyone. 1,557. Bankruptcy. 1,560. Bankruptcy. 1,575. Bankruptcy. 1,596. Bankruptcy. For defaults. In 40 years. After each one, promises of reform. After each one, immediate return to debt. Stage 4. Loss of productive capacity. They possessed all the gold and silver in the world, and it destroyed them. When you have unlimited money, you stop producing. Manufacturing atrophied. Agriculture stagnated. Spain became a conduit, not a creator. By 1600, they produced nothing. When the mines depleted, the system imploded. Stage 5. Social decay. Crime consumed cities. The productive citizens emigrated to France, England, the Netherlands. Spain hemorrhaged human capital. By 1640, Portugal left. By 1650, the Netherlands vanished. By 1700, the Spanish Empire existed only on maps, economically lifeless. They descended from superpower to regional player in less than a century. Never recovered. Modern Spain serves paella to tourists. That's stage 7, 300 years later. Britain ruled 25% of Earth's land surface, 400 million subjects. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. London was the financial axis of the world, and they believed it was permanent. Stage 1. Military overextension. By 1900, commitments spanning 6 continents. When World War I erupted in 1914, they chose war. Cost $40 billion. 1 trillion in modern value. By 1918, Britain owed America billions. The creditor became the debtor. Stage 2. Currency debasement. The war drained gold reserves. By 1920, reserves were half their 1914 levels. They returned to the gold standard at pre-war rates. The pound was catastrophically overvalued. Manufacturing declined. Unemployment metastasized. By 1931, they abandoned gold. The pound lost 25% overnight. Stage 3. The debt spiral. Then, World War II. Another $120 billion. By 1945, Britain owed over $30 billion, more than their entire GDP. The war was won. The empire was finished. Stage 4. Loss of empire. In 1947, they surrendered India. Over the next 20 years, everything vanished. Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Caribbean. Caribbean. Existed only in history books. Stage 5. 1940. 1 pound equals $4.03. Today, 1 pound equals $1.27. The global reserve currency became regional. They maintained pretense, but everyone knew. Former power. Museum of past greatness. The empire never returned. After World War II, the USSR emerged as superpower, nuclear arsenal. Control over Eastern Europe. They believed they represented the future. Stage 1. Military overextension. The Soviet Union spent 15 to 20% of GDP on military. Triple Americas, percentage. Afghanistan, Cuba, Syria, Vietnam, North Korea, Angola, Ethiopia. The cost was unsustainable. Stage 2. Economic stagnation. Growth flatlined in the 1970s. Factories produced junk. Farms' filed technology fell decades behind. By the 1980s, they were importing grain. A nation with Earth's best farmland couldn't feed itself. Stage 3. Currency collapse. The ruble was never legitimate. It couldn't be exchanged internationally. Soviet citizens didn't trust it. By 1985, oil prices dropped. Gold reserves depleted. They were running out of real money. Stage 4. Loss of empire. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Eastern Europe departed Poland and Hungary. Czechoslovakia, Romania. East Germany. Gone in a year. The Soviet government couldn't stop it. They were broke. Stage 5. Complete collapse. December 26, 1991. The Soviet Union ceased to exist. 900 days from Berlin Wall to dissolution. No war. Just economic implosion. A superpower with 30,000 nuclear weapons collapsed from internal failure. The pattern played out again. The United States is following the exact same pattern. Stage by stage. Stage 1. Military overextension. Over 750 military bases in 80 countries. Troops in 150 nations, defending Europe through NATO. Japan, South Korea, Philippines, fighting in Middle East. Countering China, Russia. Military budget, $850 billion annually, more than the next 10 countries combined. And insufficient, was stretched beyond capacity. Equipment aging, recruitment declining. If China invades Taiwan, if Russia pushes into NATO, if Iran closes the Persian Gulf, we cannot respond simultaneously. Overextended. Just like Spain, Britain, USSR. Stage 2. Currency debased. In 1971, Nixon closed the gold window. The dollar became pure fiat. Since 2000, money supply increased 400%. Since 2020, we've printed over $6 trillion. The dollar lost 98% of purchasing power since 1971. We're not mixing copper into silver. We're printing unlimited paper. The mechanism differs. The result is identical. Stage 3. Debt spiral. The United States owes $36 trillion, 120% of GDP. Interest payments approaching $1 trillion annually, more than defense spending. We run deficits every year, $1.8 trillion in 2024. During growth. During peacetime, we borrow to pay interest on previous borrowing. Textbook debt spiral. Spain defaulted 4 times. Britain borrowed until collapse. USSR ran out of money. We're following the same trajectory. Stage 4. Loss of productive capacity. America doesn't manufacture, we design, finance, consume, but don't produce. Manufacturing base dismantled, shipped to China, Mexico, Vietnam. We import $800 billion more than we export annually, dependent on foreign supply chains for everything. Medicine, electronics, steel, military components. Just like Spain became dependent on imports while silver flowed out, we're dependent while dollars flow out. When the money stops, catastrophe follows. Stage 5. Social decay. Trust in institutions at historic lows. Crime rising, homelessness metastasizing. Drug overdoses kill 100,000 Americans annually. Best and brightest emigrating. Fertility rates collapsing. Political dysfunction total. Can't agree. Can't fix. Can't build. Signs of decay omnipresent. Everyone pretends normalcy. It's not normal. We're at stage 5 of 7. Stage 6. Loss of reserve currency status. In progress, this is when allies diversify. When trade moves to alternative currencies, when the dollar comes flooding home because no one needs to hold it. We're seeing tremors. BRICS developing alternatives. Central banks buying gold. China and Russia trading in yuan and rubles. Saudi Arabia accepting yuan for oil. The cracks are forming. Stage 7. Collapse. Not gradual decline. Sudden implosion. Soviet Union went from superpower to non-existent in 900 days. Britain lost empire in 20 years. When reserve currency fails, when debt becomes impossible, when military cannot be funded, it doesn't decline gracefully. It collapses quickly. Brutally. Everyone who thought it can't happen here learns the same lesson. It can, and it does. 3 empires followed this pattern. Spain, Britain, USSR. Each believed they were exceptional. Each believed the fundamental laws didn't apply. They were wrong. Every time, we're telling ourselves the same lies. We're different. We have technology. The dollar. We're America. But the pattern doesn't care about exceptionalism. The pattern is mathematical. You cannot spend beyond your means forever. Cannot maintain empire without productive capacity. Cannot debase currency without consequences. Cannot avoid stages 6 and 7 once you've completed 1 through 5. The sequence is locked. Momentum unstoppable. The only variable is timing. Maybe 10 years. Maybe 5. Maybe less. But the pattern says collapse is coming. When it arrives, it won't be gradual. A currency crisis, triggering debt crisis, triggering political crisis. Overnight, the superpower becomes cautionary tale. Reserve currency becomes regional. Empire becomes memory. 3 times before, the pattern says, we're next. Since 2020, we've accelerated every stage, printed more money, accumulated more debt, extended military commitments, hollowed out production. Fractured society. We're not walking the path. We're sprinting. And the end is visible. If you know the pattern, maybe we'll find a way out. Maybe America can accomplish what Spain, Britain, and Soviet Union couldn't. Maybe we'll reform, rebuild, restore. Maybe this time really is different, but the pattern says otherwise. The mathematics say otherwise. And history, which has watched empires die the same way repeatedly across centuries, says we're about to learn the lesson the hard way. The answers aren't hiding in the future, they're written in the past. And the past is screaming a warning that no one wants to hear. If this opened your eyes to where we actually exist in the sequence, you need to understand what comes next. Because when stages 6 and 7 arrive, the world you know will transform overnight. And the only people who survive Imperial collapse intact are the ones who saw it coming and prepared accordingly. The mathematics of empires, the pattern of collapse, the sequence that never fails. We're living inside it right now.